Hey folks, welcome to Do Stuff Make Things. Today I'm continuing to work on the Catio, hopefully trying to get the last couple pieces done. I've just got to sand down everything I worked on last night, attach another midpoint in the roof that I forgot to do, and then finish up the legs, and then I'll hopefully get to put finish on it tonight before um, it gets too late. Otherwise, I'll just do it tomorrow. But we'll see how that goes. I think I've got everything figured out. I'm thinking I may have messed up on the side frames. Um, I'll show you. So, because this thing sets in a window, you can't really see what I'm going to be doing. Because this, sets in a window against a house or apartment or whatever, the side frame for the outer part actually sets into the windowsill a little bit. The problem that that's going to have is that the frame that I made to be removable runs the whole side of this, and that might cause me trouble. It might not, but it very well might, which means I might have to rip those down um, to be a little bit shorter, but that's, okay, I can figure that out when I install everything. When I put the hardware in, I'll guide it towards the front of the back leg. Or it might not. No, it'll need hardware. Anyway, so in continuation of what I was doing last night, I recently picked up. Sorry, I'm like super bright right now. This RZ mask to give it a shot because they had double X sizes and I don't exactly have a small face. I talked about it a little bit last night, but I'm going to give it another go tonight and see if I think about it. I still really don't like how small these clips are. That is definitely something that I'm not a fan of. They're really hard to find if you've got big fingers. There we go. Alright, so, like I said last night, if you wear it without the top um, strap, it actually holds pretty well, which is nice. It's good uh, form factor for it, but the straps being not super big, I understand why they did it. They probably did it because they want to make sure that it can fit with a bunch of other, stuff that you might have on you. But them being so thin also makes it hard to tell when they're twisted, and it makes it harder to get them clipped. But we'll get there. Ow. I did just clip my beard into it. That wasn't super comfortable. Alright, so I'm going to start sanding and see how this goes. If you never work with Ipe, know that it's pretty gnarly stuff. Even its sawdust is super dense. So that's all the pieces sanded. But with doing all that sanding, it's going to make everything a little too dusty for me. I want to put the finish on. So I've got 2 more things I can do with this. 3 more things. So I've got feet, because these are going to have adjustable feet on the bottom, and it's not enough footprint there, no pun intended, to get a T-nut in there with the adjustable foot. So that needs to go on. And then also just because it looks to me kind of silly otherwise, and it'll also give more rigidity to the front legs, I'm going to put a piece on the front to kind of carry down the frame a little bit and make it not look quite so top heavy when it's in place. But of course, what I'm going to need to do is add a couple pocket holes in this giant piece that's already all done. So that's, I think, problem A to overcome. So this is where the old style might actually be more useful, because the new style of Craig jig is great and all, but with these, like, it's definitely meant for, you're setting it up on a table and using it that way for hours and hours and hours, and not having to move it around in this kind of environment. If I had a set place for it, that would definitely be easier, but I don't. So, and I also didn't plan well enough, which, that's definitely on me. But it's ought to be fine. So, just gonna give myself a little more room. Make sure we're up, flush. Wunderbar. But will my drill go there? Yeah. Look at that, almost like I planned it. And that's going to have a foot. Let's see. I have the foot, and then lining up with the bottom of the foot is a brace. And the brace is going to be towards the front. So that means my last one should be about there. And one about Midland. Just, to be 5 3/4, kind of exacting. Ish. Right about quarter. Last one right about. Yep. Alright, get this glued and clamped and attached. I haven't had my mic on this whole time, so you probably haven't heard anything that I said. Great. So, to backtrack, in case that didn't come through, um, that's it for the assembly. I've got the leg accoutrement done. The last thing to attach is going to be the stabilizing leg. That's going to go kind of in the back here. Um, I'm not going to set it up until I know where it's going, because where this is going to sit, I don't know how deep this is going to sit in the window frame, so I don't know how much in front of that I'm going to need to put that leg. I started talking about the next project. The next project that I'm doing is a couple picture frames. Probably four, depending on how I'm feeling. One of them is a poster for uh, an alternative cover art for a novel a friend of mine wrote. He is a horror writer, more or less. His stuff is very, very funny. And once I'm done with it and send this to him, I will talk about him and his work. But in case he happens upon this, I'm not going to do any spoilers for him. It is a him, which narrows it down to some arbitrary percentage of the population. A coworker of mine does movie posters, um, comic book, graphic novel type art, and I asked him to, in exchange, I did him a favor, and his favor to me in return was to do a reimagining of the cover of this guy's book. And he did that, and it looks awesome. So I'm going to make a frame for it that kind of matches that um, persona, that matches that kind of envisionment of what he came up with for it, and that is kind of in line, something that I'm hoping that he'll really appreciate. The other picture frames I'm doing are certificate frames, just regular 8.5 by 11 pieces. I'm going to use some white oak for that because I happen to have a whole lot of it. It's not going to be a super fancy frame. It's going to be straight, mitered corners, rounded over front edges. I'm going to do two of them for people, and a third one or fourth one, depending on how I feel, I'm going to put online for sale. And what I'd started saying before I realized my mic was off was I used to sell stuff on Etsy. A lot of the turned items that I do, the bowls, the bottle stoppers, handles for things, um, traditional inkwell style pen nib holders for calligraphy, and it got to be really cumbersome and a headache, and the constant turnover and relisting fees and the extra things tacked on and on and on and on. It just got too much to be worth continuing to do. So I stopped doing that and just started selling stuff to people I knew. I put stuff on Instagram and Facebook, and if people wanted it, great. If not, maybe I'd do a show and sell some stuff. So recently, I just joined this thing called artisans.coop. And as I go through this channel and time goes on, I'm probably going to talk about cooperatives more and more. I'm a firm proponent of cooperatives because they empower the people who are providing services or goods or their talents, equitable stake in that organization. With artisans.coop, you can be an artisan owner, you can be a supporter owner. There's a third one that they have, kind of like a benefactor owner, where you just give them gobs of money to do really great things and support local artisans. They're also going to be they're also open to regular community members. If people want to get involved and help out, you can actually end up, you pay in, and you can pay in with money and time, just money, just time, but depending on your interaction and how involved you are with the cooperative depends on how much, when they have surplus monies to redistribute, like how with big corporations they go, hey, we had a banner year. All of our people who own, millions of dollars in stock are getting a huge bump dividend, and our CEO is buying his 14th boat. That gets dispersed to everybody involved in the cooperative, which is far more equitable and allows for a lot more longevity in my opinion, because if one person goes down, there's no one face of the cooperative. It's a community of people. So if whoever's running it today decides, you know what, I was the president, I want to be quiet, I want to sit down, I want to go over there and make my stuff, or just give moral support to the cooperative for it to keep going, it keeps going. There's not a big uproarious thing because so many people are involved in the running and the governance of it that already have a say in how things are going, that it's leadership change isn't super disruptive. So all that's a way of saying once I start posting stuff online, I'm going to be posting on artisan.coop. It's artisan.coop. You can look it up by just looking at artisans.coop or artisans cooperative, or the cooperative alternative to Etsy will probably, I think we tried searching that and that came up with it as well. But that's where these things are going to be. That's where those picture frames are going to be. That's where when I finish turning this block of wood into a nice pretty little 7.5-inch bowl, it'll be on sale. I am now a partner owner or a member owner. They will be opening it up for storefronts that are not owners, member owners. They haven't done that just yet, but I think it's going to be rolling out very soon, possibly this fall. I will probably be talking about it more. So stay tuned. You can also check them out on socials. If you liked watching this, you can subscribe to this. And subscribe to, if you're watching this on Twitch, you can subscribe to YouTube and see the old VODs and whatever I end up editing together for full videos. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can check me out on Twitch. And that's about, I think, all I have for tonight. Next time is going to be the finish, which is going to take a bit, so I think I'm going to do the finish and then start planning out the frames. I need kind of a dust-free environment so that we don't get particulates muddying up the finish soaking in. The finish I'm going to be using is, I'm not sponsored, they've given me no money, I've given them a ludicrous amount of money over the years. Vermont Naturals Coatings. This one is their penetrating waterproofer infused with juniper. I don't know what that means, but unlike a normal like polyurethane finish or polyacrylic finish where you have to put the coat on, let it dry, give it a light sanding, put another coat on, let it dry, maybe have to apply a third coat afterwards. This, because it's like a penetrating oil polymer, more or less, where once it's dried, it's set, and that's really all you can do with it. So you put on the finish, let it sit until it's tacky but not quite dry, and then you put on the next finish or the next coat, and then you let it fully cure, or you do spot touch-ups. And it is less of a candy coated shell than it is like an infusion into it. It soaks into the wood like an oil does, more than building up a layer on top like you do with polyurethane or polyacrylic. I've not used this before. I have not done much with their outdoor stuff. I've done their heirloom furniture finish. I've done their polyway indoor finish. When I'm doing a lot of my smaller wood turning stuff, that's the one that I use because it's far less toxic by not having the caustic chemicals in it. and no added like formaldehyde derivatives or anything kooky like that. And I feel like if it's something you're handling, if it's something kids might get their hands on and chew on, eh, polyurethane is food safe once it's dried, but that's assuming that you're not gnawing on it and eating it. It's assuming that like you might lick it or rub your hands on it when it's wet and your hands are wet or do whatever else that might cause any sort of chemical transference to happen. Once it's cured, polyurethane, polyacrylic are safe to handle. Safe to eat? Probably not. But that's why I don't risk it. Um, yeah. So that about sums up my babbling for the night. So thanks for watching. Tune in next time, and we'll see you once I get going to wipe all this down and put the final coat on. And then once that cures, the last step will be putting all the hardware in. So 2 more times of this. The second time will probably be when I start working on the next project, which, unless a commission comes in for something, will be picture frames. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe and do all that fun stuff that everybody else tells you to do. I'm sure you hate hearing it. I know I sure do. So, I'll just say good evening, or afternoon, or morning, wherever you may be. Take care. Thanks.